little late in November, but we still wanted to do a TBR, so we're gonna go over all of the books that we want to read in November. Here's the thing about me, I currently don't have access to my books because I got new floors in my room and all of the books are being stored in a different place. It's a whole thing, but we'll be doing pop-ups for the books that I want to read in November.
And we're hoping November is a better reading month for us than October was. I feel like you didn't do too bad, but to meet your reading goal, you have like a lot you need to read in November. I've just chose a couple that I know I would read right now and hopefully get me out of my reading slump.
My current read I actually do have with me, and it is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I just started it. It's going really well so far. It's just one of those books that I've had on my shelf for so long that I desperately want to finish this year, and I was supposed to read it in October. I didn't get around to it, so I wanted to make sure that I would read it in November. One year, Xan accidentally feeds a baby Moonlight, filling the ordinary child with extraordinary magic. Xan decides she must raise the girl, whom she calls Luna, as her own. It's cozy vibes. It's so cute. It's like folklore, and there's like this witch that everybody thinks is bad, and she's just misunderstood. I'm really liking it so far though, and I'm hoping it'll be a 4+ star.
A book I really wanted to read this year is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I did read this author's memoir earlier this year and absolutely loved it, so I've been waiting to read this collection of short stories. It says there are 8 startling stories that map the realities of women's lives and the violence visited upon their bodies. Earthly and otherworldly, antic and sexy, queer and caustic, Her Body and Other Parties enlarges the possibilities of contemporary fiction. I'm so excited. Her writing was so unique, so I know all the stories in here are going to be fantastic, so I'm really excited to read this one this month.
So I'm having to pick a lot of my smaller books because I don't think I'm gonna hit that reading goal of mine. I want to read 100 books by the end of the year. So a short book I have is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It says Paulo Coelho's masterpiece tells the mystical story of Santiago, a shepherd boy who yearns to travel in search of a worldly treasure. His quest will lead him to riches far different and far more satisfying than he ever imagined. I know this book has a lot of wisdom, and I think this book is going to have a lot of really great life lessons in it. So I don't know, I'm hoping this is going to be a very powerful read.
Speaking of wisdom, I feel like I need some right now. So I have Dear Dolly by Dolly Alderton. I love Dolly Alderton, you guys know. I loved her memoir, I loved her fiction books that I've read. It says, in this, Dolly helps us navigate the labyrinths of life, bringing together her collected knowledge in one invaluable volume that will make you think, make you laugh, and help you confront any conundrum or crisis, which I need. Anytime I've read a book of hers, it just feels like she's chatting with a friend, and I always love the life lessons, so I'm really excited for this one.
Another short one I want to read is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Tashukazu Kawaguchi. I feel like this is going to be such a sad book. It says, what would you change if you could go back in time? In a small back alley in Tokyo, there's a cafe which has been serving carefully brewed coffee for more than 100 years, but this coffee shop offers its customers a unique experience, the chance to travel back in time. So we meet 4 visitors, each of whom is hoping to make use of the cafe's time traveling offer. That sounds so good. If I like this one, hopefully I can continue reading the other books. And you read it and you liked it, and we always see it every time we go to Barnes & Noble, so it's definitely one I want to read.
The next book I have is Animal by Lisa Taddeo, and this one just feels like it needs to be read this month. It says Animal, its depiction of female rage at its rawest and its visceral exploration of the fallout from a male-dominated society. It says this illustrates one woman's exhilarating transformation from prey into predator. I need a female rage book right now, and I think this one's gonna be perfect for that. I haven't read anything by this author, but I know she has another really popular book, so if I like this one, I'm definitely gonna purchase that one.
One that I feel needs to be read this month is Outlawed by Anna North. It says, in the year of our Lord, 1894, I became an outlaw. The day of her wedding, 17-year-old Ada's life looks good, but after a year of marriage and no pregnancy in a town where barren women are routinely hanged as witches, she joins up with a notorious hole-in-the-wall gang, a band of outlaws led by a preacher turned robber. Anna North has crafted a pulse-racing, page-turning saga about the search for hope in the wake of death and for truth in a climate of small-mindedness and fear. This is one that I've been wanting to read for a while, and it just feels like right now is a good time to read it.
A short story that I have to read this month is Galatea by Madeline Miller. It says, in ancient Greece, the marble sculpture of of beautiful women, Galatea, is given the blessing of life. Her sculptor marries her and they have a daughter together, but the sculptor is a controlling and jealous man who does not want Galatea to know the world. In a desperate bid to control her, he locks Galatea away and keeps her under constant supervision of doctors and nurses. Galatea, however, yearns for her independence. She has a daughter to rescue and is determined to break free whatever the cost. This one just sounds so good. I know it's going to be such a fast, entertaining read, and I can't wait to read more Madeline Miller because I've missed her writing.
Another short one I want to read is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I know you loved this one last year. I've been wanting to read it. Piranesi's house is no ordinary building. Its rooms are infinite, its corridors endless, its walls are lined with thousands upon thousands of statues. Within the labyrinth of halls, an ocean is imprisoned. Waves thunder up staircases, rooms are flooded in an instant, but Piranesi is not afraid. He understands the tides as he understands the pattern of the labyrinth itself. I know this one is a literary fiction, and people do say this will eventually be a modern classic, so I gotta read it.
A book I'm finally going to read is Pew by Catherine Lacey. This one takes place in a small unnamed town in the American South. A church congregation arrives for a service and finds a figure asleep on the pew. The person is genderless, racially ambiguous, and refuses to speak. One family takes in the strange visitor and nicknames them Pew. Pew is shuttled from one household to the next. Slowly, the void around Pew's presence begins to unnerve the community. By the time Pew's story reaches a shattering, unsettling climax, the secret of who they really are, a devil or an angel or something else entirely, is dwarfed by an even larger truth. I'm really excited for it. It sounds so interesting, and I know books like this have so many different metaphors and symbolism, so I just can't wait to get into it.
The last one on my TBR is Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. I love Lauren Graham, loved Gilmore Girls. I know she's going to be talking about Gilmore Girls and being back on the set of Gilmore Girls and just talking about her life, and I need something cozy like that, and I'm excited to learn more about Lauren Graham, so I think it'll be a good book to read this month.
So my last November hopeful that I brought is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I've actually never read this book. I don't remember this one being one of our required texts in school. So this will be the first time I'm reading this classic. I do know a little bit of what it's about, but it says, at the dawn of the next world war, a plane crashes on an uncharted island, stranding a group of schoolboys. At first, with no adult supervision, their freedom is something to celebrate. This far from civilization, they could do anything they want, but as order collapses, as strange howls echo in the night, as the terror begins its reign, the hope of an adventure seems as far removed from the reality as the hope of being rescued. I'm so excited for this one. I've been trying to work my way through some classics this year, and this is one that I know I have to read.
And now we're going to do our blind books. Y'all know we do this every single month, and there's only 2 left.
We are going to pick for each other as always. I cannot believe we're at the last 2 books.
Number 12.
Number 2 for you. Okay. I'm scared. I don't know what these are. I didn't even read my blind book from last month.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Okay.
The Cheerleaders.
You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. I didn't even know I owned this book.
You haven't read that?
No.
Oh. So I have The Cheerleaders by Cara Thomas. This is like one of the first books I ever purchased. It says there are no more cheerleaders in the town of Sunnybrook. First there was the car accident. Not long after that, the murders happened. Monica's sister was the last cheerleader to die. That was 5 years ago. Now the faculty and students at Sunnybrook want to remember the lost cheerleaders. But for Monica, it's not that easy. She just wants to forget. Riley Sager actually said it's a little bit Riverdale and a little bit Veronica Mars. So, sounds perfect.
I absolutely loved Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, so I cannot wait to read this one. It says, You'd Be Home Now is about 2 siblings whose whole life falls apart after a deadly car accident disrupts things in their small town. I remember Girl in Pieces had a lot to do with like mental health and talking about things like that, so I'm hoping this one touches on some things like that as well, but I can't wait to read another book by this author.
So those are all of our November hopefuls. As we said last week, we decided to skip this month for our Literal Besties Book Club just because we're both in horrible slumps and we didn't end up picking a book and it was too late. So we'll be back to regular scheduled programming next month.
We still will be chatting in the general chats about books we're reading and just bookish talk, so if you do want to join and you haven't yet, we will leave that link in the description. That's pretty much it for today's video. Let us know what books you guys have been reading so far in November. Let us know what your favorites have been, and maybe some of the hopefuls that you haven't gotten around to reading yet. That's going to be it for today though, so thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys next time.